Having a deskmate who is the school beauty with extreme differences. What is that experience like? 1 second she's attentively listening to the lecture, the next second she hugs me tightly and kisses me. This scene causes all 14 billion male students in the class to collapse. But in the beauty's heart, she's as happy as a blooming flower. She directly buries her head into my chest. Jai Botan, I've finally found you, so the school beauty has also reincarnated with me. In my past life, I secretly loved her for 3 years, but because of my inferiority complex, I only wrote these feelings in my diary until many years later when we met again. I finally had enough courage to confess to her. Then a truck out of control rushed toward her. I went crazy and rushed forward to push her away, but I got caught under the wheels. At my funeral, while sorting through my belongings, she suddenly discovered the person who saved her was her deskmate from high school. Looking at the yellow diary in her hand, she couldn't hold back her tears. So it turns out, this person had loved her silently for so long. What a coward. If we could do it all over again, let me be the one to actively pursue you. She just lay there still on my bed, crying all through the long night. The next morning when dawn broke, she nearly fainted when she heard the familiar teaching voice by her ear. She rubbed her sleepy eyes, slowly sat up. When she turned her head, a familiar face appeared before her eyes. In an instant, the girl's eyes turned red. Without caring about anything else, she rushed straight into my arms. At this moment, my face was full of confusion. How could I be hit by a truck 1 second? The next second returned to this 12th grade year, and what does Jiangsui in my arms mean? Before I could understand the situation, the homeroom teacher's angry roar sounded. Boting, falling asleep in class is one thing, but daring to tease your deskmate? The boys in the class also gave me murderous looks. Boting, looking at your thick eyebrows and big eyes, thought you were an honest person, yet you dare to publicly force a kiss on Jiang, our great beauty. You've really got guts. If you have the courage, let her go. Let me try to be the hero saving the beauty. How has everything turned upside down? I awkwardly pushed the beauty away, explaining, Teacher, I think this is a misunderstanding. It was Jiangsui who actively hugged me. At this moment, Jiangsui was so happy she was in tears, looking at me with teary eyes, too moved to speak. The homeroom teacher's voice also trembled. You even made student Jiang cry. Now go stand in the hallway for half an hour's punishment. I want to cry but had no tears. I really didn't do anything. Clearly I'm the victim here. But seeing the murderous looks from the whole class, I helplessly went outside. But just at that moment, Jiangsui's voice rang out. Wait. Teacher. You misunderstood. What just happened has nothing to do with Jay Boating. I was the one who hugged him. The whole class immediately fell silent. Their eyes nearly popped out. Beauty Jiang actively hugged Jai Boating. How could that be possible? The homeroom teacher of course didn't believe it. Student Jiang, you don't need to cover for Ji Boating. Just bravely tell the truth. I will help you get justice. Jiang Sui calmly said. I just had a nightmare. Woke up frightened. It really wasn't classmate's fault. The classmates suddenly realized. I knew Jay Boating didn't have the guts, so it was just the beauty having a nightmare and being startled, panicking without time to think, conveniently hugging whatever was nearby. The homeroom teacher's face also softened a bit. It's good that nothing happened. Sit down. The storm has passed. The class returned to quiet. Beside me, Jiang Sui leaned slightly, one hand supporting her chin, intently looking at me. Why didn't I realize in my past life, Jay Boating is also quite handsome? Thankfully, heaven has given me this chance. Later, there will be plenty of time to get to know him better. Thinking about this, Jiang Sui's ears turned red. I only felt a chill down my spine. Turning my head back, seeing Jiang Sui staring at me intently, I touched my face, curiously asked her, is there something on my face? Having a deskmate who is the school beauty with extreme differences. What is that experience like? 1 second she's attentively listening to the lecture, the next second she hugs me tightly. This scene causes all 14 billion male students in the class to collapse. But in the beauty's heart, she's as happy as a blooming flower. She directly buries her head into my chest. Jai Botan, I've finally found you, so the school beauty has also reincarnated with me. In my past life, I secretly loved her for 3 years, but because of my inferiority complex, I only wrote these feelings in my diary until many years later when we met again. I finally had enough courage to confess to her. Then a truck out of control rushed toward her. I went crazy and rushed forward to push her away, but I got caught under the wheels. At my funeral, while sorting through my belongings, she suddenly discovered the person who saved her was her deskmate from high school. Looking at the yellow diary in her hand, she couldn't hold back her tears. So it turns out, this person had loved her silently for so long. What a coward. If we could do it all over again, let me be the one to actively pursue you. She just lay there still on my bed, crying all through the long night. The next morning when dawn broke, she nearly fainted when she heard the familiar teaching voice by her ear. She rubbed her sleepy eyes, slowly sat up. When she turned her head, a familiar face appeared before her eyes. In an instant, the girl's eyes turned red. Without caring about anything else, she rushed straight into my arms. At this moment, my face was full of confusion. How could I be hit by a truck 1 second? The next second returned to this 12th grade year, and what does Jiangsui in my arms mean? Before I could understand the situation, the homeroom teacher's angry roar sounded. Boting, falling asleep in class is one thing, but daring to tease your deskmate? The boys in the class also gave me murderous looks. Jai Botan, looking at your thick eyebrows and big eyes, Thought you were an honest person, yet you dare to publicly force a kiss on our great beauty Jiang. You've really got guts. If you have the courage, let her go. Let me try to be the hero saving the beauty. How has everything turned upside down? I awkwardly pushed the beauty away, explaining, Teacher, I think this is a misunderstanding. It was Jiang Sui who actively hugged me. At this moment, Jiang Sui was so happy she was in tears, looking at me with teary eyes, too moved to speak. The homeroom teacher's voice also trembled. You even made student Jiang cry. Now go stand in the hallway for half an hour as punishment. I want to cry but had no tears. I really didn't do anything. Clearly I'm the victim here, but seeing the murderous looks from the whole class, I helplessly went outside. But just at that moment, Jiang Sui's voice rang out. Wait. Teacher. You misunderstood. What just happened has nothing to do with Jay Boating. I was the one who hugged him. The whole class immediately fell silent. Their eyes nearly popped out. Beauty Jiang actively hugged Jai Boating. How could that be possible? The homeroom teacher of course didn't believe it. Student Jiang, you don't need to cover for Ji Boating. Just bravely tell the truth. I will help you get justice. Jiang Sui calmly said. I just had a nightmare. Woke up frightened. It really wasn't classmate Ji's fault. The classmates suddenly realized I knew Jay Boating didn't have the guts, so it was just Beauty Jiang having a nightmare and being startled, panicking without time to think, conveniently hugging whatever was nearby. The homeroom teacher's face also softened a bit. It's good that nothing happened. Sit down. The storm has passed. The class returned to quiet. Beside me, Jiang Sui leaned slightly, one hand supporting her chin, intently looking at me. Why didn't I realize in my past life, Jay Boating is also quite handsome? Thankfully, heaven has given me this chance. Later, there will be plenty of time to get to know him better. Thinking about this, Jiang Sui's ears suddenly turned red. I only felt a chill down my spine. Turning my head back, seeing Jiang Sui staring at me, I touched my face curiously, asking her, Is there something on my face? The words had barely left my mouth. Teacher Wang's angry roar came from the podium. Jai Boating, what are you trying to do now? Before I could speak, the classmates behind me, full of jealousy, raised their hands. Teacher, we know. Just now Ji Boating kept staring at classmate Jiang with a greedy look, so I was separated again. Twice now. This time I tried my best to explain, almost had to swear an oath to prove myself. Only then did Teacher Wang half believe, half doubt and stop making trouble. After sitting down, I was so angry I gritted my teeth, glanced toward the culprit. At this moment, Jiang Sui acted as if nothing had happened, attentively listening to the lesson, as if the person looking at me just now wasn't her, making me doubt, was it just an illusion? Little did I know that right now Jiang Sui's heart was blooming with joy, but she also realized, although she had reincarnated, she also needed to be careful about hiding it. After all, in the eyes of everyone at school, she had always been the cold ice beauty to everyone. If she suddenly became too enthusiastic, it might frighten a certain adorable benefactor. Anyway, the little deskmate was already in the basket, so just take it slow and enjoy. Jiang Sui couldn't pretend for long. She couldn't resist secretly observing me again. On the outside she showed no expression, but inside she was cheering, liking me more the more she looked. What to do? His face is fair and smooth, like a shy, introverted puppy. Really want to tease him. Who would have thought? The cold female CEO of the past life would now turn into such a crazy fan. She looked to her heart's content, but I felt a bit uncomfortable. Since earlier, I always felt a chill on my back, but every time I turned my head, Jiang Sui would turn away with an amazing speed, transforming into a cold, proud appearance. When I turned my head back, the feeling of being preyed upon returned. This happened several times. I really couldn't take it anymore. Wrote a note and passed it over. Miss, what exactly are you trying to do? The cold beauty deskmate just glanced at the note, her face still cold. A moment later, she pushed the note back. On the back of the note was written, Don't pass notes during class. Looking at the words on the note, I felt a bit silly inside. Meanwhile, Jiang Sui, outwardly cold, was inwardly as happy as a blooming flower. Oh dear, what to do? My whole heart has already melted. The last class finally ended. I felt like a weight had been lifted. Ran to the hallway to breathe some fresh air. At this moment, my good friend Chen Yu came over, giving me a thumbs up. Brother Ji, you're so bold. You even dare to tease the great beauty Jiang. I looked at him with a bit of exasperation. If I said she took the initiative first, would you believe me? He looked at me with an understanding expression. It's okay. Not being able to pursue Beauty Jiang is normal. At least it's better than being Lin Sinu's flatterer. Hearing this name, I was stunned. It seems like in high school there really was a dark history of romance. Right at that moment, a voice rang out. I'm in pain. I want to eat ice cream with Wang Wei. Could you go buy some for us? The entitled tone made me feel uncomfortable. If it were me in my past life, I might have been so excited to jump from the building to go buy it. But now what? I decided to use a very polite yet clever way of refusing. If you're not sick, wouldn't it be better to go buy it yourself? Hearing this, Lin Xinyu was stunned. She thought she had misheard, quickly put on a pitiful and aggrieved expression, biting her lip as if having to take a risk. Jai Boating, if you go buy it for me right now, I can have lunch with you. After saying this, her face showed a smug expression. In the past, Every time she said this, I would happily agree immediately. Lin Xinyu thought this time would be no exception. But unexpectedly, I hugged my wallet tightly, looking at her with a shocked expression. "You want to mooch off my lunch money too?" Lin Xinyu only felt at this moment. Her head was buzzing. When she came to her senses, she couldn't help but angrily stamp her foot. In her anger, she suddenly thought of something and blurted out, "If you don't go, don't ever hope to hold my hand in this lifetime." After saying this, she looked at me smugly. Seeing this, I smiled lightly. "Don't worry, I won't go." Secretly despising her, I had such a hard time reincarnating, the first time holding a girl's hand. Such an important matter. How could I let the small dirty hands of a sea fish ruin it? Wang Wei standing beside Lin Xinyu also got angry. "Jai Botan, do you understand human language? Xinyu is saying, if you don't go buy ice cream, don't ever hope to hold her hand in this lifetime." His voice was a bit loud, attracting the attention of classmates in the hallway. Just at this moment, a cold, gentle voice rang out. "Of course he understands. On the contrary, do you two not understand human language? Classmate Ji said is not going, yet you two are still lingering here. Aren't you ashamed?" Jiang Sui walked over with her long legs, like an empress descending. The surrounding classmates all widened their eyes in surprise. Looking in disbelief, the great beauty Jiang suddenly appeared. Oh my god, is beauty Jiang really standing up for Ji Botan? At this moment Jiang Sui was outwardly cold, but inwardly very angry. "My man, how dare you touch him?" Seeing the appearance of beauty Jiang, I was also stunned. After analyzing with my intelligent brain, I came to a conclusion. Perhaps the two of them had a grudge. Lin Xinyu was flustered by the situation before her. In front of Jiang Shui, whether in terms of beauty or family background, she was a level below. But with many students watching in the hallway, she also didn't want to weaken her momentum. She could only stubbornly face Jiang Sui's gaze. "I was talking to Ji Botan. What does it have to do with you?" Jiang Sui stepped to my side, softly spoke. "I am his desk mate. What are you?" Lin Xinyu was stunned. She couldn't say Ji Botan was her flatterer. She suddenly had an idea. "He and I are close friends. The kind of close friends who can hold hands." To beat Jiang Shui, she had taken a risk. Jiang Sui let out a cold laugh. "Is that so? Just for holding hands, he has to be your Iran boy." This remark made Lin Xinyu blush. Jiang Sui didn't bother with her, turned to look at me and said, "Open your eyes wide. Don't make friends with opportunistic, advantage-taking types." Saying this, she paused, as if thinking of something, then gently added one more sentence. "Moreover, if you really want to hold a girl's hand, you can hold mine. No errands required, free of charge." A sentence that stunned everyone present. But what shocked them more was the scene that followed. The goddess of their hearts just put her hand in my palm. At this moment I was also stunned, but the cool sensation transmitted from her hand told me everything was real. Class is about to start. Let's go back. So I was led back to class by Jiang Sui holding my hand. The male students who had just come to their senses in the hallway immediately let out groans. Back in class, Jiang Sui and I sat in our places. I awkwardly looked at her, recalling the experiences of my past life. What scene is playing out after all? There was no such plot in my past life. Seemingly aware of my confusion, Jiang Sui said coldly, "Don't misunderstand. I just don't like that girl. Holding hands is nothing. Don't take it to heart." Though her mouth said this, in Jiang Shui's heart someone was setting off fireworks in celebration. Hoo. Already held my little desk mate's hand. Jay Boating in this life, the first time holding hands was successfully with me. In the past life when reading my diary, she remembered clearly the first time I held hands with someone of the opposite sex was only in the last 2 weeks before graduation. Thinking of this, Jiang Sui looked at me and asked, "Any more questions?" I honestly nodded. "We are already in the classroom. This Hankin." I looked at my right hand. Since entering the classroom until now it still hadn't been released by the beauty deskmate. Jiang Sui with a calm face naturally let go of my hand. "Sorry, I forgot." But in her heart there was a bit of disappointment. "Oh no, I was caught. I wanted to hold it a bit longer." After my right hand was free, I also felt like a weight had been lifted. Sighed with relief. Actually, I also wanted to hold longer. Mainly I was afraid of death. Just now Teacher Wang was patrolling in the hallway. I was afraid if discovered, I would be angrily punished by the other party. After starting class, out of politeness, I wrote a note and passed it over. "Thank you." Jiang Sui glanced at the note, casually replied, "Thank you for what?" I was stunned. It was originally just courtesy. Why is this deskmate not courteous at all? I silently mumbled, "Thank you for what? In my past life I gave her my whole life. How come she doesn't think about how she should thank me?" I felt a bit dissatisfied inside, but thinking it over, it's fine. It was all from the past life. Besides, she didn't reincarnate. I wrote a few more strokes on the note, then pushed it back. "How do you want me to thank you?" Seeing this, Jiang Sui's lips curved into a smile. Quickly wrote another line on the note. "Call me sister and let me hear it." Seeing the words there, I nearly choked on my saliva. Coughed once, couldn't help but look up at the beauty deskmate. At this moment she was still focused, looking at the history teacher standing on the podium, with an expression of attentively listening to the lesson. It's hard to imagine this ice beauty would have such a preference. I continued to write on the note, pushed it back. No way. Changed to something else. Jiang Sui glanced at the note, again quickly wrote and pushed it back, then buy me lunch today. I seriously looked at the note, always feeling like I was being calculated. At the same time, Jiang Sui is sitting on the side, her lips curving upward. Little guy, do you think your big sister can't get you? Fortunately, it finally came to break time. Chen Yu ran over quickly again, leaned close to me and said, Brother G, you're really lucky today. First being kissed by the beauty, then getting to hold hands on her initiative. If she also eats with you, it'll really believe you two are dating. To congratulate you a bit, he'll treat you to lunch. Just as he finished speaking, a beautiful figure walked by. Jiang Sui looked at me. Let's eat. 3 words, with a flat tone. The content had the power of a bomb, pointed to Chen Yu beside me. Chen Yu says he wants to treat us. Jiang Sui frowned, looked toward Chen Yu. You want to treat us? Although her expression didn't change, the atmosphere around seemed to drop several degrees. Chen Yu, not knowing life from death, kept nodding. Sure, sure. Ill treat. Ill treat. He was excited and thrilled inside, being able to invite the ice beauty recognized by the whole school for a meal. Such an opportunity for intimate contact. No matter how much it costs, it's worth it. But halfway through saying it, he froze because he saw the emotionless gaze of Beauty Jiang. Chen Yu suddenly shuddered, his voice slightly trembling. Should I treat or not treat? Jiang Sui calmly said. You don't treat. Chen Yu immediately nodded like a chicken pecking grain. Right. 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 I won't treat you too. I forgot my mom is having a baby today. After saying that, he turned and ran away. I stared with my mouth wide open in the direction Chen Yu left. Jiang Sui also looked at me with satisfaction. Let's eat. I swallowed. At the staircase corner, Chen Yu secretly peeked out his head looking in this direction. No way! They're really dating. The cafeteria was packed at noon, and throughout the journey, I don't know how many murderous gazes killed me. Jiang Sui also frowned. She wanted to eat alone with me. Let's go outside the school gate to eat. I nodded. All right, but still feeling reluctant inside. Noticing I was a bit distracted, Jiang Sui approached and spoke. What? Do you want to hold hands? I immediately became alert, shaking my head like a drum. No. Having just reincarnated on the first day, I don't want to be surrounded and beaten to death by jealous male students. Thinking of this, I immediately turned around, as if running away toward the school gate. Jiang Sui behind me slightly pouted, showing disappointment. Immediately after, she smiled brightly again, with light steps following after me. Teasing like this is quite interesting. At the small restaurant opposite the school, when entering the place, feeling an invisible heavy pressure, as someone with only 150 yuan weekly living expenses, not counting weekends, only 30 yuan to spend each day, we found an empty table and sat down. Jiang Sui ordered a lamb fried rice. I felt my heart bleeding. I want a tomato and egg fried rice. Jiang Sui frowned looking at me. So plain. Don't you eat meat? I sighed. It's fine. I'm allergic to meat, but feeling very reluctant inside, mainly allergic to money. Jiang Sui of course didn't believe it, immediately ordered an extra beef rice. Eat more meat, it's important for your development. In her heart she coldly snorted. This body will be mine in the future. You need to nourish it well. I was full of black lines on my face. I'm not spending your money. You're really not sparing anything. Jiang Sui took a sip of water. Calmly said, your weekly allowance mostly goes to Lin Xinyu. Right? Hearing this, I suddenly choked violently. The Coca-Cola I just drank almost choked me to death. Jiang Sui secretly pouted. Of course she knew from my diary, but outwardly she remained poker-faced. Many people at school know. I heard people say, Thud. Dropped my head on the table. What does this mean? Has the story of me being a flatterer spread everywhere already? Looking at my appearance, Jiang Sui thought I was still thinking about Lin Xinyu. This won't do. The man I worked so hard to find again. How could I let someone else easily take him away? She lightly coughed, started educating me, like boys at this age, having some vague desire and pursuit toward the opposite sex. Is understandable, but boys also have to learn how to protect themselves when going out. The whirl of emotions is very dangerous. Listening on and on, a big question mark gradually appeared in my head. This isn't right. This deskmate beauty, why does her attitude toward me seem a bit strange? Seeing my expression, Jiang Sui thought I was unconvinced, so she smiled coldly. What? Not convinced. Do you think you're very smart? Not easily fooled. I couldn't help but laugh. Of course, I'm a proper reincarnated person, 18 years old physically, 40 in soul. What storms haven't I weathered? This little beauty dares to lecture me. It's really like an old person bullying a child. Before I could speak, Jiang Sui had already gently opened her mouth. First semester of 10th grade. Lin Xinyu called you Brother G. You were so moved, handed over a whole month's allowance to buy her singer CDs. Last winter break, our G boating was like injected with stimulants, every day riding a bicycle, bringing love breakfast to her for half a month. This year during New Year's, she held your hand. You were so happy you paid 2 more months of food money, only receiving a thank you in return. Hearing her rattle on, accurately detailing the history of my career as a flatterer, I was completely stunned, staring at her with my mouth open. Damn it. How does she know so clearly? I almost forgot. Jiang Sui glanced at me. Convinced yet, I wanted to find a crack to crawl into. Convinced. Completely convinced. The evidence is like steel. My 3 years of high school were truly as a titanium flatterer. Cannot be washed clean. I looked at her sadly, asked her how she knew so clearly. Jiang Sui's face remained cold, lying with an unchanged face. Many people know. I heard people say, thud. Hit my head on the table again. Seeing my appearance, Jiang Sui flashed a smile on her face, then quickly returned her cold expression. Now do you understand? Promise that in the future you won't be easily fooled again. Stay away from girls like that. My face full of suffering. Nodded vigorously. That's for sure. Jiang Sui was very satisfied with my attitude. Just as the rice was being served, she continued pressing her advantage. At this age, boys should focus, concentrate on studying. Getting into a good university is the main task. I answered gently, yes. You're right. Jiang Sui looked at me with satisfaction. Continued saying, therefore, if Lin Xinyu comes looking for you, don't pay attention to her anymore. I silently nodded. She looked at me. Continued saying, also, other girls who want to play with you, learn to say no. I continued nodding. She said again, if you discover in our class, or the whole school that other girls like you, immediately report it to me. Listening on and on, I suddenly felt something was right, so I raised my head, looking suspiciously at Jiang Sui opposite me. Other girls like me, why do I have to report to you? And other girls can't invite me to eat. Why can you invite me? Jiang Sui with a calm face, without changing color, because I am the class monitor, responsible for monitoring the study status of classmates. Can't let classmates be affected. As for inviting to eat, that's different. We are deskmates. Deskmates eating together is normal. I listened dumbfounded. Jiang Sui with her cold expression showed no shame when lying, so I gradually believed and accepted. Ice goddess as cold as Jiang Sui really did need to make up lies about this. Otherwise, what would she gain? If Jiang Sui really was lying, having other thoughts, surely I would easily see through it. I'm a reincarnated person. I can't be fooled. Thinking this way, I couldn't help feeling more moved. Jiang Sui still maintained a calm face. So how do you plan to thank me? With a helpless face, emotions that were building up halfway suddenly got reversed. I almost choked. How do you want to be thanked? Jiang Sui seemed to be thinking for a moment, a face that showed no signs of calculation at all. Gentle voice. Call me sister once. I looked at the beauty in front of me with a black face. She still calmly received my gaze. I firmly replied, can't call you that. Jiang Sui looked at me. How can I make you call me that? I shook my head. No matter what, I can't call you that. The corner of her mouth curved slightly upward. You'll pay for this meal. I immediately changed my face. Sister, you're so kind. Jiang Sui hearing this, her face didn't change at all, just gently nodded, then stood up naturally, hand rubbing my head. Gentle voice, casually leaving a sentence. Good boy, then turned and walked toward the cashier counter. Boss. Check please. We left the restaurant, not directly returning to school. Jiang Sui asked me to wait for her at the door of the small store. She would go in to buy some wet wipes. This kind of shopping around with girls, placed on high school boys' shoulders, usually implies. Regarding this, Jiang Sui still maintained her cold demeanor, giving a righteous explanation. Deskmates shopping together at the store is very normal. Other deskmates at school do the same. I half believed, half doubted, but still chose to accept. After all, thinking carefully, Jiang Sui also had no reason to deceive me. What would she gain? So Jiang Sui went into the store to shop. I waited at the door. Just at this moment, a familiar female voice came from behind. Jai Botan. I turned my head toward the voice, saw Lin Xinyu walking out from a noodle shop next door. She looked down at me. So, have you thought it through and want to apologize to me? I looked at her like she was crazy. Apologize for what? Where did this green tea girl come from? Lin Xinyu smiled confidently. You usually eat in the cafeteria. Today coming outside the school gate. Aren't you waiting for me? Why still pretend to be stubborn? I laughed, glanced at her. No, waiting for you. Lin Xinyu laughed again, with a face like she had seen through someone's mind. I know you want to make me jealous, so you went to great lengths to invite Jiang Sui to act with you, but such childish tricks, you really think I would believe it? Mentioned Jiang Sui made me remember the scene of having my dark history listed earlier. My temple twitched, my face immediately darkened. Are you done talking? If you're done, then go somewhere else to cool off. Lin Xinyu was confused by my attitude, angrily blurted out. Jai Botan, what kind of attitude is that? Let me tell you, this is the last chance I'm giving you. Just at that moment, beside the noodle shop, Jiang Sui had finished shopping and paid, was walking out of the store. Just as she reached the door, she heard Lin Xinyu's voice. Angrily questioning, Jiang Sui stopped her steps, pricking up her ears to eavesdrop on the activity outside. She wanted to see the performance of her little deskmate just now checking the results of education. At this moment, I heard Lin Xinyu's threatening warning in front of me, raised my eyebrows saying, what do I have to regret? Lin Xinyu smiled confidently. If you don't apologize, from now on, not just holding hands. I won't even pay attention to you anymore, not even speak another sentence with you. In the future, no matter how you try to find me, I won't even look at you once. I hastily nodded. That's great. Hearing this, Lin Xinyu couldn't suppress her anger. What are you trying to do? I kindly explained. Just the literal meaning, my deskmate told me, to focus on studying, reduce contact with opportunistic girls. Saying this, I looked at Lin Xinyu, adding, that specifically refers to you. Lin Xinyu was so angry her head spun. Am opportunistic. How dare you say that about me? My face full of innocence. I didn't say it. My deskmate said it. Lin Xinyu nearly went crazy. Your deskmate says it and you listen. Finally, I revealed a mocking smile. If I don't listen to her, then why should I listen to you? This sentence along with the corner of my mouth curving up mockingly. Lin Xinyu was completely speechless. I continued speaking slowly. Moreover, my deskmate is the beauty. Both beautiful, with long legs, and speaks well. Why shouldn't I listen? Looking at Lin Xinyu, who was being defeated by me to the point of dumbfoundedness, I added a final blow. Unlike you, short person, not even good looking, a simple 10 words, directly stabbed Lin Xinyu through the heart. Jai Botan. Remember this, I will never forgive you. This class 5 flower acknowledged as cute and sweet, finally even angrily, left a sentence with a voice like she was about to cry, then just ran away without looking back. At this moment, footsteps came from behind. I turned my head, saw that Jiang Sui had finished shopping and came out. She still maintained her cold expression. Glanced at me once. Who were you just talking to? I also casually replied. A passerby. Don't know them. Jiang Sui nodded, pretending not to know, then casually shared a fruit candy with me. The change, you try it. Watching me unwrap the candy, throwing the fruit candy into my mouth, thinking about the phrase, my deskmate is the beauty. Both beautiful, that she had overheard, she couldn't help but smile radiantly. Silly kid, your mouth is quite sweet. When the afternoon class bell rang, I slightly tilted my head to look at Jiang Sui sitting beside me. This deskmate is not only beautiful, her academic performance is also very good. While I was staring thoughtfully, a note was pushed over. I glanced at the note. Don't look anymore. Focus on the lesson. I looked up at Jiang Sui beside me. She was still cold-faced, attentively looking at the podium listening to the lesson. I embarrassedly turned my head away. At this moment, Jiang Sui with her cold face concentrating on the lecture, the corner of her mouth slightly curved into a smile. Silly white fool, secretly looking at your sister so intently? Is my charm that great? The last afternoon class was a class meeting. The homeroom teacher stood on the podium, face serious, announcing to the classmates, next Tuesday there will be a test. You all must review and prepare well. Suddenly heard a familiar shout. You. Stand up. I instinctively. Whoosh. Stood up, looking toward the voice, saw the homeroom teacher on the podium glaring at me. The teacher slammed on the podium shouting, Jai Botan. Do you know how many points you got in the last mock exam? How many points in the last mock exam? This kind of question wanting to know, for a reincarnated person who was hit by a truck more than 10 years later and came back, is still a bit difficult. Fortunately, without waiting for me to think, the homeroom teacher on the podium was already angry, rattling off the details for me. Math 60, Chinese 61, English 62. The other 3 subjects totaling 150, calculated as each subject not meeting the standard. The class has 50 people, you ranked 49th, compared to the previous midterm exam, dropped 8 places. Looking at the 4th row from the back, the seat by the window in the class, one of the bottom students, the homeroom teacher was truly heartbroken, hating that iron can't become steel. In this second mock exam, you must increase at least 20 points. If you can't improve, then wait for me to call your parents. Hearing the homeroom teacher's words, many classmates also caused trouble, delighting in others' misfortune. A male student directly laughed loudly, in a loud voice. Teacher, increasing 20 points for G-boating is too difficult. Is busy pursuing class 5 flower Lin Xinyu. No mind left for reviewing, the tone full of sarcasm, as soon as the words ended, immediately caused the classroom to erupt in laughter, and the homeroom teacher hearing this, his face grew darker, angrily glaring at me. What class flower or not class flower? All mixed up. In short, must increase by 20 points. I don't care what method you use. Do exercises, memorize, learn by heart, or find other classmates to tutor you. I don't look at the process, only the result. Hearing this, the male student who first mocked me laughed again. Teacher, forget it. Let Jai Botan find other classmates. Wouldn't that involve others? His brain is full of love. By then he'll make others have love-filled brains too. Teacher, prepare for the end. The classroom laughter immediately became louder. At the same time, not a few high-ranking classmates also showed alertness. Their gazes at me also had more caution. Unlike bottom-ranked G Botan, in this second mock exam, they were all trying to get good scores and rankings. If G Botan really used the homeroom teacher's words as a protective charm, shamelessly coming to ask for their tutoring, then their time and energy for reviewing would be delayed and affected. In the laughter, I who was standing seemed unaffected. If in my previous life facing this situation, perhaps I would truly be embarrassed. Angry, yet helpless, but this life is different. With a soul over 40 years old, thick skin already developed, this kind of childish malice is negligible. Moreover, improving academic performance, for me as a reincarnated person, has no difficulty at all. So at this moment, I just smiled looking at the homeroom teacher on the podium. Teacher, it's okay. I can review by myself. I'll try hard not to drag down the class, strive to increase about 200 points. As soon as the words ended, the whole class couldn't help it, completely erupted in laughter. The male student standing earlier even laughed until he couldn't breathe, raising his hand pointing at me. 200 points. Why don't you just blow up the sky? I think if you increase by 2 points, that would be difficult enough. Then that male student turned to look at the homeroom teacher, laughing, saying, Teacher, Jay Boating is quite self-aware, knows that in our class, the good students, no one wants to care about him, so he actively avoids embarrassment. This way it's considered less trouble for you. Haha. The homeroom teacher on the podium listening slightly frowned. One poor student was troublesome, and if it really affected the reviewing state of good students, then the loss would be even greater. As for G. Boaton's words about increasing 200 points, the teacher of course didn't care, just considered my boasting a saving face. After thinking for a moment, the homeroom teacher said seriously, Alright, still mainly self-study. If you really have questions you don't understand, you can ask me or other teachers. The words weren't finished. Suddenly, a cold, gentle voice rang out in the classroom. No need to find someone else. You'll teach him. The atmosphere in the classroom immediately fell silent, including the homeroom teacher. At this moment, all the students in the class were stunned, their eyes instinctively following the voice. Looking at the last row, fourth group, right next to a certain bottom-ranked student, the beautiful cold ice beauty suddenly stood up, standing right next to my shoulder, Jiang Suiya with cold eyes, sweeping across the gazes of all students in the class. Those classmates who just laughed at me along with that disgusting male student couldn't help but feel embarrassed, instinctively lowering their heads to avoid her gaze. Finally, she looked at the homeroom teacher on the podium, with a calm tone, coldly repeating once more, I will tutor him. As soon as the words ended, the classmates finally came to their senses. Immediately the classroom boiled like a pot of water. I was also stunned, originally confident enough, opened my mouth ready to make a show. But before I could finish, Jiang Sui unexpectedly stood up again. As soon as she opened her mouth, she made me go silent. The classmates almost couldn't believe their ears. Looking careful, Jiang Sui with her cold expression, then looking at me standing beside her, they truly felt it was unimaginable. As the school beauty, Jiang Sui's Ice Queen personality was recognized by the whole school. Although her grades were very good, always top of the class, she usually came and went alone, focusing on her own studies. Previously in the class, there were also male students, using the excuse of asking for help with exercises, actually wanting to get close to Jiang Suiya to start a conversation. The results were all miserable failures. But now for one person in the class with almost bottom scores, Jai Boaton, Jiang Sui stood up, actively expressing willingness to personally tutor. The male student who had laughed the loudest earlier couldn't help but get agitated. Immediately said, Teacher, although classmate Jiang has good grades, but in this second mock exam, she also needs to help our class strive for the top position in the grade. Can't be dragged down by G. Boating. The homeroom teacher on the podium hesitated and frowned. I think it's better not to. The words weren't finished. They were cut off by Jiang Shui. Teacher, it's fine. As the class monitor, helping classmates is what I should do. Tutoring G. Boaton with his studies, my scores won't be affected. In fact, through teaching and explaining, will also help me understand more deeply. A calm and natural statement, reasonable and well-founded. The homeroom teacher couldn't help but nod, showing an approving expression. Finally, after thinking for a moment, decided to conclude, Alright, then the task of tutoring G. Boating is assigned to you, but you must ensure it doesn't affect your own energy for reviewing, that's all. The homeroom teacher kindly instructed Jiang Shui. Then his gaze shifted to me, immediately becoming sharp, his tone suddenly increasing by 8 degrees. J. Boating, you must cherish this opportunity. You must be humble and learn from classmate Jiang. Don't refuse to study yourself and also affect classmate Jiang. Be careful or it'll settle accounts with you then. Hearing this, I nodded. I looked at Jiang Sui beside me, lowering my voice softly. Actually, there's no need to trouble you. I can do it myself. A moment later, Jiang Sui's gentle voice came over. You misunderstand. I'm not intentionally helping you. Just as the class monitor and your desk mate, it's my responsibility, that's all. When saying this, Jiang Sui's face was cold. Nothing unusual could be seen, but in fact, inside she was as happy as a blooming flower. Yeah. Intimate one-on-one tutoring, again having a legitimate opportunity to contact and talk closely with my little desk mate. Tutoring sessions, where to start from, maybe hand-in-hand guidance, along with the bell for dismissal ringing. Time passed. It was already evening because the school had mandatory requirements, evening self-study from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. So after classes ended, the classmates all rushed outside, racing to the cafeteria. Jiang Sui was called by several close female classmates, invited to have dinner together, while I went with Chen Yu to the cafeteria. While eating, Chen Yu looked at me with admiration almost to the point of prostrating, wanting to kneel down right there to acknowledge me as his master. Brother Ji is really domineering. Having lunch together was already one thing. Beauty Jiang has never tutored anyone. The first time, and you've conquered her with such good fortune. Even if you fail this second mock exam, having parents called in would be worth it. I looked at Chen Yu, frowned, who said ill fail. No need for tutoring. This time I can increase by at least 200 points. Chen Yu was stunned, then looked at me with regret. Getting to study one-on-one with Beauty Jiang? Brother Ji is happy to the point of insanity. I rolled my eyes. If you don't believe it, then don't. Chen Yu was a bit surprised, waved his hand saying, it's not that I don't believe, mainly that Brother Ji's boasting is too much. Last time you got 370, increasing it once by 200 points, that would be 570, with a chance to enter the top 15 in class. Who would dare think that? Hearing this, the corner of my mouth curved into a mysterious smile. How about we make a bet? If in this second mock exam I increase by at least 200 points. Chen Yu, without thinking, patted his chest boldly, agreeing immediately. Then I'm willing to lose. At that time, he'll take off my clothes, go to the schoolyard walking on hands, running naked for 3 rounds. Damn it, I was also shocked. Actually, at first I at most just wanted to make him treat me to a few meals. Didn't expect this guy to have such guts. I nodded. For fairness. Still adding one more sentence. What if I lose? Chen Yu with a face full of brotherly righteousness. Brother Ji, if you lose, as brothers I won't punish you at all. Then he timidly approached, carefully opened his mouth. It's just that. Can you share your experience with your brother? How did you conquer Beauty Jiang? Opening a class is also fine. On the other side, Jiang Sui and several female students, having dinner together, were also being questioned, the 3 female students eating with Jiang Sui. In class, in terms of appearance and academic performance, were quite high. Compared to others, their relationship with Jiang Sui was more intimate and familiar, so they also dared to be bold. Sui, why did you agree to tutor that Jibon among the 3 female students as the Chinese subject class monitor? Ting couldn't help but curiously ask. This is the first time I've seen you actively tutoring someone. The 2 female students beside her also nodded repeatedly. Sui, why did you agree to tutor that Jibon among the 3 female students as the Chinese subject class monitor? Ting couldn't help but curiously ask. This is the first time I've seen you actively tutoring someone. The 2 female students beside her also nodded repeatedly, their gossip spirit burning fiercely. Facing the curious gossiping eyes of her friends, Jiang Sui just calmly replied, nothing special. I'm the class monitor. Helping classmates is what I should do. Ting half believed, half doubted. Too official. Also never saw you help anyone before. Moreover, it's a male student. Jiang Sui remained calm. Just a coincidence. He is also my desk mate. Helping with tutoring is also convenient. Another girl beside could help but ask more. What about this morning when you actively hug him? I heard that during break time in front of that class 5 beauty. You also actively held Ji Boten's hand. Jiang Sui's face didn't redden and her heart didn't race, lying without blinking an eye. All coincidences. She even lightly smiled and asked back, could it be that I like him? As soon as the words ended, the 3 female students also immediately sighed in relief. That's right. How could you like that bottom-ranked type? I told you so. It must be just a coincidence. Sui showing compassion. That's all. Seeing the 3 female students in front of her like this. At this moment, Jiang Sui, in her heart, smiling until her eyes curved upward, like a smug little fox, easily fooled them. Currently the time isn't ripe yet. Not convenient for others to know the truth. Her character must be maintained. Otherwise it would be easy for others to notice flaws. Moreover, the current situation is also very good. No pressure. Comfortably staying with the little desk mate. When free, can also pretend to accidentally tease the other party a bit, so no rush to go public. Take it slow. Jiang Sui was secretly satisfied. The conversation content of the 3 female students suddenly shifted direction. But to be honest, actually, Ji Boting is not without merits. After all, he was chosen by Lin Xinyu. That class 5 beauty has quite high standards for choosing boys. Ji Boting is just a bit shy and introverted in character, but looking carefully today, actually, is quite handsome too, like a good, cute little brother type. Ting's eyes brightened a bit, both hands supporting her chin, showing an eager expression. I quite like this type. If you girls aren't interested, you'll try someday. As soon as the words ended, Jiang Sui, who was lower in her head eating small bites, the chopsticks in her hand, bang, hit the table, making Ting and the 3 female students beside her. All startled, Jiang Sui raised her head, her cold eyes sweeping across to Ting and the other 2. The second mock exam is coming soon. Study well, stop thinking about other miscellaneous things, clearly displaying the authoritative posture of the class monitor. The 3 female students also hurriedly obediently nodded. Humbly listening, Jiang Sui secretly sighed in relief inside. Thank goodness. Thank goodness, the food in my bowl was almost eyed by another ugly girl. After finishing dinner, Chen Yu and I returned to the classroom from the school cafeteria. Sitting in our seats resting for not long, when I saw Jiang Sui also returning with the 3 female students, I noticed that those 3 female students seemed to be secretly looking in my direction, gathering together as if discussing something. At this moment, Jiang Sui had returned to sit beside me. The cold, gentle voice came over. Get ready. Which subject do you want to be tutored in first? I thought for a moment, still feeling I shouldn't deliberately take up Jiang Sui's time and energy, so I opened my mouth. Let's forget it, I'll do it myself. Jiang Sui, hearing this, paused, then gently said, you think you don't need help? Then without waiting for my reply, I saw her rummaging in her desk drawer, searching for a moment, quickly taking out 2 English tests and placing them in front of me. These gap-filling exercises in these 2 tests, try doing them, Jiang Sui added. If in total you make fewer than 8 mistakes, I'll believe you can do it yourself. I took the tests, smiling. Alright, watching me pick up a pen and start working, Jiang Sui in her heart was also absolutely confident. She guessed my level would make at least 14 or 15 mistakes. At that time, the little deskmate would be completely convinced, could only obediently accept her tutoring one-on-one sessions. Thinking like this in her heart, the corner of Jiang Sui's mouth couldn't help revealing a smile. However, just 20 short minutes later, the 2 tests had been completed. Jiang Sui compared the standard answers, quickly looking through once. The cold, calm expression of Jiang Sui, for the first time, almost couldn't be maintained, her small mouth revealing surprise and disbelief. The 2 gap-filling exercises totaling 30 questions. All correct, checking carefully once more. When confirming again there were no mistakes, Jiang Sui was somewhat in disbelief. These 2 gap-filling exercises, for most students, on average each would get at least 3-4 questions wrong. Even if she did them, she wouldn't be sure to get all correct. But the deskmate in front of her got all correct. This isn't right. According to her knowledge of me in the previous life, and after reading through all of the other parties' diaries, the academic level of the silly deskmate from the lower semester of 10th grade had started to decline. Really almost at the very bottom, how could he easily get everything correct? Moreover, only taking 20 minutes, at this moment, I had a completely relaxed face. Even had time to admire Jiang Sui's cute surprised expression. Since reincarnating until now, it was finally the first time when facing Jiang Sui, I gained the upper hand in initiative, making me feel a bit proud. Do you believe me now? But my words reaching Jiang Sui's ears were like a small provocation. She raised her eyebrows. The undefeated nature of the Ice Queen Seo from her previous life returned. Little kid wants to compete with big sister? Huh! She quickly regained her cold expression. Fine. These 2 were quite simple. After saying this, Jiang Sui took from her English book another test, using tape to cover the answers she had filled in, then handed it to me. At the same time, she looked up at me, her voice gentle as usual. Try this one too. I raised my eyebrows slightly, calmly smiling. No problem. So I started working quickly again. This time the efficiency was also very high. Just 10 short minutes later, I gently handed the 3rd test to Jiang Sui. Working so fast, if you don't check carefully, you'll regret it. Jiang Sui pretended to calmly comment. In reality, her actions were very quick, immediately taking the test, then taking a breath, peeling off the tape covering the answers, starting to check and compare. The checking process was very short, just a moment and it was confirmed. Jiang Sui took in a breath of cold air. This time her eyes were even more shocked. All correct again. This 3rd test wasn't homework assigned by the teacher, but an English competition test she had specially found, originally just for self-training, used for further improvement. Jiang Sui herself had gotten 3 questions wrong. But unexpectedly, I had only taken about 10 minutes to finish. At this moment, Jiang Sui couldn't help but look again at her little desk, eyes full of shock and disbelief. The little person in her heart had opened her mouth into an adorable O shape. Is this still the little deskmate she knew? The person in the diary who once complained that English was too difficult. How did he suddenly become an English expert at competition level? Not knowing the thoughts in Jiang Sui's heart at this moment. After finishing the 3 tests, I just felt refreshed. Competition tests are just like this. In my previous life, after failing the college entrance exam, I barely reached the minimum score for a 2nd-tier school. My parents spent half of their savings for me to attend an ordinary university. When I saw my parents' hair with many white strands, I felt ashamed and blamed myself to the extreme before completely awakening. After entering university, I started to become more diligent and hardworking. Along with studying, I also went to work as a tutor to earn living expenses. Even after graduating from university, my first job lasting 3 years was at a famous local training institution, becoming a test preparation teacher, specializing in tutoring various subjects for students, and my main teaching direction was high school subjects. Now reincarnating back to high school, facing the challenges of these subjects, it can be said it's like fighting from a position of advantage. After finishing the English test, next was Chinese, math, history, the types of ancient poetry and prose required to memorize in high school. I could recite them as soon as I opened my mouth. Just at this moment, Jiang Sui's eyes lit up, her voice revealing rare excitement and joy. This one is wrong. Hearing this, I looked at the answer, then naturally pointed out that the answer was wrong. Jiang Sui looked carefully, seeing it was indeed so. raised her head up to look. Jiang Sui was in a daze. I raised my eyebrows. Do you believe me now? Jiang Sui finally came to her senses, tried to make her expression return to coldness. Not bad. Immediately after, she again couldn't help but look at me with evaluation. Couldn't suppress the question in her heart. How did you suddenly become so good at studying? To this question, I prepared beforehand. It's not that sudden. Actually, I've been quietly working hard to review and supplement my studies. Just waiting for this time to shock everyone. Sounds a bit forced, but still more believable than if I told Jiang Sui that I was reincarnated. Jiang Sui, hearing this, was somewhat half-believing, half-doubting. Her beautiful eyes couldn't help looking me up and down, still feeling something strange. Working hard to review and supplement studies, there was no such plot in the diary. This matter needed to be kept so secret that it wasn't even recorded in the diary. But thinking it over, Jiang Sui still accepted this answer. After all, this was the only reasonable explanation. This little deskmate couldn't also be reincarnated. Seeing Jiang Sui accept the explanation, I also smiled. So, for the tutoring matter in the future, there's no need to trouble you. I can do it myself. Jiang Sui nodded. At this moment, her mood was also a bit complex and confused because if I was really like in the previous life with bottom scores, then even if she tried every way to yield and cooperate, after the college entrance exam, she and Ji Boting would still have to go to different universities. Long-distance love isn't a good thing anyway, but now it seems this problem is no longer a problem. The little person in Jiang Shui's heart at this moment was staring at her little deskmate. Rare surprise, as if at a treasure, couldn't help but be joyfully radiant. Oh yeah, worthy of being Big Sister's deskmate, also secretly hiding such great talent. Big Sister indeed did misjudge. Silly, the little deskmate who studies hard isn't silly at all, has a little genius, but on the other hand, the little person couldn't help but start feeling sad. Originally planned to borrow the opportunity of tutoring, to have a legitimate way to contact and interact more deeply with me, hand-in-hand guiding through exercises, explaining exam questions, could also satisfy the feeling of touching, pinching the little deskmate's cheeks, rubbing his head and so on. Now it seems this beautiful scene would fly away. In an instant, Jiang Sui thought of another way, her face still cold. Are you busy? If not, help me look at this question. While speaking, pushed an English test over, hand pointing to a reading comprehension. Am not very good at this one. I was a bit confused. What's going on? The academic beauty at the top of the class. Top 3 in the grade. What kind of problem could give Jiang Sui a difficulty? I looked at the reading comprehension on paper. My head had more question marks. This isn't difficult at all. Just a very ordinary reading comprehension. In class, at least 10 out of 20 people could do it. I looked at Jiang Sui beside me with suspicion. You can't do it. Jiang Sui with a cold face. Calmly natural, without changing color. Yes, I can't. I was more confused. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, underestimating this reading comprehension. There's some hidden trap I'm not detecting. I don't believe it. Looking carefully again, Jiang Sui sat beside me watching, my appearance of concentrating, researching, thinking. The little person in her heart was already smiling brightly. Can't tutor the little deskmate. Then let the little deskmate tutor me. Well done. My original intention was not wanting to trouble Jiang Sui, who knew after showing my real level, the trouble would shift to me. The entire self-study evening, I practically spent it all tutoring Jiang Sui. Jai Boten. This one I don't know. Are you free to help me look at this question? This is a multi-syllable word. I forgot. Not only had to help explain, but I always felt strange. The other party's gaze seemed not focused on the test, but kept moving back and forth on my face. Every time I suddenly looked up, I discovered nothing. Jiang Sui with a cold face, as if completely focused on the test, never distracted at all, and when I continued explaining, the feeling of being secretly watched immediately returned. Suddenly looking up, again saw nothing. Instead, Jiang Sui looked up at me, in her cold demeanor, carrying a bit of innocent questioning. What's wrong? Not continuing to teach, I shook my head saying, nothing. Jiang Sui tonight seemed full of intense thirst for knowledge. The questions continuously being passed over. Jay Boden, look at this. Also this and this too. When Jiang Sui for the 20th time tonight sincerely asked a question, I finally couldn't bear it anymore, pointing at the blank space on the test. This doesn't mention anything. How am I supposed to fill it in? Jiang Sui seriously flipped the test paper over, pointing to a different question. I looked at the wrong one just now. Look at this one. I looked at Jiang Sui in front of me helplessly, but she remained calm, showing nothing unusual. I really give up. Just have to accept it. Picked up a pen to prepare to explain to Jiang Sui. Just as I reached for the pen on the desk, coincidentally Jiang Sui was also reaching for the pen, seeming to want to actively hand it to me. Our fingers accidentally touched, then perhaps due to inertia unable to break in time, Jiang Sui's hand precisely and surprisingly grabbed my finger firmly. The air froze, stopped, from the finger transmitted. Just as I reached for the pen on the desk, coincidentally Jiang Sui was also reaching for the pen, seeming to want to actively hand it to me. Our fingers accidentally touched, then perhaps due to inertia unable to break in time, Jiang Sui's hand precisely and surprisingly grabbed my finger firmly. The air froze, stopped, a cool, soft sensation transmitted from the finger. I looked up at Jiang Sui full of doubt. Her face was calm as if nothing had happened. I wanted to hand you the pen. I lowered my head looking at my finger, still being firmly held by the other party. Then can you let go of my hand? Jiang Sui nodded. All right, then with a cold face, calmly let go. The little person in her heart was already smiling so much her mouth wouldn't close. Oh no! Jiang Sui, how could you be so careless? Next time continue. Finally the whole self-study period. I almost spent all of it tutoring Jiang Sui. Fortunately the dismissal bell rang. I felt like a weight had been lifted, sighing with relief. Seeing beside me Jiang Sui seemed still not satisfied. Turning to take another test booklet, I immediately sprang up like a spring. Class is over. Have to go home. Right after that, I quickly swept all books and papers into my bag, then hoisted the bag on my shoulder, the whole series of actions flowing like water, completed in one breath. Jiang Sui was stunned, looking at my appearance like I was running away. She almost laughed. Silly little one, why run so fast? I'm not gonna eat you. When Jiang Sui also quickly packed her bag, preparing to chase after me, unexpectedly someone called from behind. Classmate Jiang. Wait a moment. Jiang Sui instinctively stopped, turned to look, saw the English subject monitor Liuma coming quickly. This person was also the one who had mocked me with all kinds of words. Jiang Sui slightly frowned, thinking she was delayed. Might not catch up with Ji Boting. Not in a good mood. Her face also returned to coldness. What is it? Seeing Jiang Sui really stopped to wait for him, Luma immediately showed joy, face full of sincerity. I want to advise you, poor students like Ji Boting, no matter how much time you spend, it's useless. It will only affect your college entrance exam preparation. I think you shouldn't care about him anymore, saying a stream of what he thought was sincere and considerate words. Finally, Yuma added one more sentence. If you find it difficult to explain to the teachers, I can help you speak up. After saying this, Liuma felt that he had just been extremely polite and appropriate. Inside he couldn't help feeling pleased and smug, but unexpectedly Jiang Sui frowned. Her face also grew colder. Are you and I very close? Liuma hearing this suddenly froze. This unexpected counter-question made him somewhat not know how to react. Just about to speak, again cut off by Jiang Sui's colder voice. Allow me to correct. Actively requested to tutor Ji Boten myself, and my business doesn't need others to care about. We are just classmates. Hope you pay attention to boundaries. I don't want to hear those words a second time. Saying this, she no longer paid attention to the other party. Picked up her bag, turned and went out the back door of the classroom. Lumai came to his senses. A feeling of unwillingness and resentment erupted. In his anger, couldn't help it, blurted out a sentence. But aren't you and Ji Boten just classmates too? Jiang Sui stopped for a moment, turned with a cold gaze, and glanced at the other party. Different. Early the next morning, I rubbed my sleepy eyes, stretched and yawned big. Last night too focused on doing tests, slept and don't know what time it is now. Damn it. What time is it? Hurriedly. Getting dressed, packing my school bag, I hurriedly rushed out the door down the stairs, unexpectedly on the second day of reincarnation. Again because I stayed up late doing tests the night before, at risk of being late for morning class. Just arriving at the school gate, suddenly from behind came a call. Ji Boten. You stop. I instinctively turned my head toward the sound, saw it was Lin Xinyu and her close friend Kui Kai, along with two other female students. The one who just spoke up, calling me to stop, was Kui Kai. Seeing it was them, I intended to just turn and leave. I'm in a hurry. Morning self-study is about to begin. Don't have time to ramble with you girls. But at this moment the female students had already quickly approached. Kiki saw Ji Boten about to turn and leave. Immediately another angrier shout. Stop. Don't go. Her voice a bit loud, attracting the attention of not a few students. Around the school gate, I was a bit exasperated, looking at the other party. What's the matter? Seeing Ji Boten seem quite impatient, Yuki grew angrier. You still dare to ask? You confess yourself. How did you bully Mike Xinyu yesterday? Quickly apologized to her. The two female students beside her, perhaps also close friends of Lin Xinyu and Kui Kiat, now also chimed in. Man bullying a small girl. Not even ashamed, when several close friends stood up for her, taking turns scolding Ji Boten. Lin Xinyu, the person involved, didn't speak up, just red-eyed, with an expression of having suffered great injustice. Standing fearfully for a while, not a few students from other classes and grades around, their gazes toward Ji Boten also became unfriendly. He didn't bother, turned and left, completely treating the other party like air, like they didn't exist. This almost made the three female students led by Kui Kia angry to the point of chest congestion. Immediately Kuki stepped quickly forward to block me. Loudly, you can't leave. No apology. No leaving. Lin Xinyu standing beside, outwardly continuing with red eyes looking pitiful, in her heart already more smug. This is precisely the benefit when she deliberately brought Ki and two other close friends along. She herself didn't even need to act, just needed to play the pitiful victim. The situation seemed really at an impasse. I turned my head straight toward the school gate, shouting loudly, Teacher, they won't let me go to class. In an instant, Kuiki and the two female accomplices froze. Lin Xinyu also suddenly raised her head, staring with her mouth open at Ji Boten. The middle-aged teacher at the gate had frowned. Looking in this direction, Kukai felt panicked inside. Made way, stepped back to the side. I leisurely walked past, side Lin Xinyu, Kyuki and the female students toward the inside of the school gate, seeing Jay Boating just leaving so openly. Kyuka's heart rose with feelings of unwillingness and anger. Couldn't help but angrily open her mouth, loudly scolding Jay Boating. What kind of man are you? Not even willing to apologize. You're so petty. What girl would look at you? Words like these were almost an outburst of angry emotions. However, this very statement, just as it ended, suddenly heard a cold voice ring out. I would. Jiang Sui strode with her long legs, full of presence, to Ji Boden's front. Beauty Jiang with a cold face calmly said, "It's almost late. Let's go." After saying that, almost under the gaze of everyone's incredible shock, the Ice Beauty raised her hand, actively grabbed Ji Boden's left hand. Then the two walked straight into the school. At the turn near the underground garage, I turned my head looking at Jiang Sui. Thanks just now, this feeling was really quite nice. Hearing Ji Boden's thanks, Beauty Jiang still had a gentle expression. Calm tone. It's nothing. Deskmates help each other. That's how it should be. You helped me study yesterday. I'm just returning the favor. Don't misunderstand. Misunderstand. Of course, not to that extent of misunderstanding. But speaking of which, I looked down, my left hand still being firmly held by my beauty deskmate. Can this hand be released? The beauty deskmate, without changing expression, naturally finally let go. Sorry. I forgot. Farewell to my beauty deskmate, then hurriedly went to class, looking at a certain figure running away. The pretend cold expression of Jiang Shui immediately disappeared. She lowered her head looking at her smooth white hand, her small mouth slightly pouting. Let go so hurriedly, his sister's hand not worth holding. But right after that, on her face couldn't help appearing a satisfied smile. All right then, early morning at the school gate already got to hold the little deskmate's hand, was already an unexpected joy. It's enough. Should also thank that green tea girl for causing trouble, accidentally giving me a reason to legitimately hold my little deskmate's hand. I ran with all my might in the school building, finally made it before the morning bell. At the back door of class 10, just happened to meet my good friend Chen Yu coming out the back door. Going to the bathroom, seeing Ji Boden, Chen Yu's eyes immediately brightened, pulled him over. Brother Teng, have you heard the big news? Just now at the school gate, Beauty Jiang got out of her family's Maybach. When entering the gate, actively held a male student's hand going in together. A brother from the class next door saw it, just texted me, the lower grades are rumored to be going crazy. As for me, I was wholeheartedly rushing back to my seat, also not free to chat with Chen Yu. Simply dropped a sentence. I know, that person was me, only leaving Chen Yu stunned in place, his mind buzzing in reaction. When he came to his senses, Chen Yu felt like the sky was falling. After finishing morning exercises, classmates flooded out onto the field. Many rushed toward the small store, racing to get there. As an adult with a soul over 30 years old, of course I wasn't interested in squeezing into the crowd at this moment. It's just that my good friend Chen Yu also came near. Brother Teng, let's go. Back to class. The store is too crowded. Only idiot would go squeeze with them. I happily nodded, turned intending to return to class with Chen Yu. As a result, was called back by a cold, gentle voice. Jai Boten. I turned my head toward the voice, saw my beauty deskmate walking toward me. Is there something? The beauty deskmate looked at Ji Boating, pointing toward the small store. Come with me to the small store. Her voice still gentle, as if saying something completely natural. Just hearing this sentence, Chen Yu beside me had already very proactively quietly retreated. Withdrawing. Yesterday's lesson still clear. He didn't want to offend Beauty Jiang again, especially thinking of, at that time, Jiang Shui. With eyes cold enough to freeze a person, his survival instinct immediately became very strong. With my friend gone, I was still confused. Why must I go with you? You want to go to the store? I don't want to go. The beauty deskmate, without changing expression, again raised her hand pointing to the crowd on the way to the store. Too many people. I can squeeze through. I laughed. You can't squeeze through. Adding me won't help either. The words weren't finished, just saw the beauty deskmate already gracefully extending her hand toward Jai Boating. Then you should hold my hand. Holding hands actually, one person goes in front clearing the way, the other follows behind. Indeed could squeeze through the crowd. This method isn't bad, but I was somewhat hesitant. Cautious. Holding hands isn't very good. Holding the beauty deskmate's hand in front of the crowd, being seen by many people, always felt like life would be difficult to preserve. To be honest, this deskmate, recently why I keep finding reasons to hold my hand. Is it an illusion? Beauty Jiang still without blushing or her heart racing, her tone still natural. What's not good about it? We are deskmates. Deskmates helping each other by holding hands is very reasonable. While speaking, raised her hand toward Jay Boating, with a gesture indicating to quickly grab it. I looked at my beauty deskmate, seeing the other party very natural and straightforward, seemingly without any schemes toward me, thinking it's also right, just ordinary deskmates holding hands to help clear a path. Even the beauty deskmate is so calm about it, then I don't need to overthink. Reasonable. So I stopped hesitating, also extended my hand to hold the beauty deskmate's hand, moving forward to squeeze through the crowd, at the same time, following behind Ji Boating, letting my hand obediently rest in the other party's palm. Feeling the warmth from the palm, the little person in Jiang Shui's heart smiled. Her mouth couldn't help smiling brightly, again got to hold the little deskmate's hand. Jiang Shui, you're amazing. Finally charging through the crowd, holding the beauty deskmate's hand, reached the small store. I was completely exhausted, full of sweat. So difficult. Even with an 18-year-old youth's body, almost couldn't withstand this fierce wave of people. Being the deskmate of a beauty really isn't a simple matter. Contrary to Ji Boteng, at this moment Beauty Jiang was very calm and natural, even seemed to be in a very good mood. Hands clasped behind her back, steps light and graceful, entering the store, starting on the shelves, choosing snacks and drinks, quickly finishing shopping. After paying at the counter, Jiang Sui, carrying 2 cold bottles of Sprite, walked up to Ji Boteng, handed 1 bottle to Ji Boteng. Expression natural. Your reward. I also wasn't polite, extending my hand to take it. I nearly died like a dog just now, being the deskmate of a beauty. 1 bottle of Sprite isn't too much. Of course, not thinking that treatment like just now, if it were other male students, perhaps they would be jealous to the point of green eyes. Don't talk about rewards. Might even want to pay money to exchange for the chance to hold hands. Even now I was still glancing at the bag of potato chips in the beauty deskmate's hand, with some intention to continue. Why not buy 2 bags of potato chips for complete revenge? This thing anyway isn't afraid of having too much. Beauty Jiang raised her eyebrows, gently dropped a sentence. If you want to eat, later we can share 1 bag of potato chips. 2 people eating together. At that time each person puts their hand in the potato chip bag. Inevitably some heart-racing situations will occur. Small touches, smart trick to increase interaction with the little deskmate. The cold beauty has many plans. The 2 drinking Sprite, walking shoulder to shoulder leaving the store. Just about to return to class, not walking many steps, suddenly heard a voice ring out. Jiang Sui looked toward it, only saw a handsome tall male student. Quite bright and quick walking with several people following, face full of joy coming in this direction. The male student came up, directly ignoring me standing beside Jiang Sui like air, to Jiang Sui with a face full of smiles, opening his mouth in familiar tone. Familiar person. You also came to buy snacks. Just right, saves me from going to class 10 to find you. Are you free at lunch today? Let's eat too. The male student, without waiting for Jiang Sui's answer, had heard a voice beside Jiang Sui. Excuse me. I suddenly stepped forward, going right in front of Jiang Sui, blocking the tall handsome male student's view, sheltering my beauty deskmate. From behind, looking at this tall male student, I'm afraid you don't have time to invite Jiang Sui at a lunch. This tall male student's name was Su Kang. Class 5, considered a famous figure in school, height 1.8 meters, school basketball team, outstanding sports talent, academic performance also prominent, nicknamed the academic god. However, what really made him famous was rumored that near the graduation of 12th grade, he and a female student of the same cohort had an ambiguous, unclear relationship, even had intimate relations. As a result, after achieving his goal, he immediately ran off, turned his back and denied everything. When the girl, full of hope, thought she and the other party could go public, the attitude of the other party toward her suddenly became cold and distant. The girl was heartbroken and miserable, actively gathered all her courage to question Su Kang about their relationship, but was coldly denied. We're just playmates. Why so serious? Finally, the girl couldn't stand it. The rumors behind her back from classmates, she chose to commit suicide, jumping from the school's administration building, becoming a tragedy. This incident finally caused many school leaders and education department officials to be dismissed. But Su Kang, the main culprit, seemed unaffected. Simply put, this is not a good person. Seeing the other party for the first time, in my head I recalled these things. In my past life as the deskmate of the beauty, also heard about this Su Kang, many times actively pursuing Jiang Sui. Fortunately, the beauty deskmate was originally cold, also didn't show too much friendliness toward him. Logically speaking, there's no need to worry too much, but fearing 1 in 10,000, not fearing 10,000 to 1. This kind of bad man, if the beauty deskmate gets involved even slightly, it would be concerning. Not to mention, I suddenly thought, considering that in this life after reincarnation, the beauty deskmate has already had many actions that didn't exist in the previous life. Character seems to have some subtle changes, then unavoidably there's a possibility when facing Su Kang, her attitude toward him might also be different from the previous life. As a deskmate, I felt I had a responsibility to help Beauty Jiang avoid potential risks and troubles, so when the other party spoke up, enthusiastically inviting my beauty deskmate to lunch, I immediately stood up, protecting in front of my beauty deskmate. Jiang Sui also immediately recognized Su Kang's background. Also a reincarnated person, she quickly recalled the dirty deeds related to this Su Kang, under the flashy exterior, was a despicable, disgusting nature. Jiang Sui's eyes suddenly grew cold. In the past life, although she didn't agree to Su Kang's pursuit and flirtation, but initially toward this Su Kang, also had some admiration, but in this life after reincarnation, already knowing beforehand the ugly true face of the other party, naturally, couldn't give the other party half a point of goodwill and opportunity. Just didn't expect, before she could open her mouth, a figure suddenly stepped forward from beside her, shielding in front of her. Hearing the calm, natural words transmitted from the front. Not only the other students around, even Jiang Shui, the person involved, was also slightly stunned. The anger that had just risen because of Su Kang suddenly interrupted, dissipating several parts. Jiang Sui couldn't help it, looking up and down, evaluating Ji Boting's back in front of her, the little person in her heart also full of surprise and confusion. What's with this little deskmate? Suddenly changed, before still acting like a straightforward man. Toward me all intimacy was rejected, now actively standing up himself. Su Kang and the several people following beside him also couldn't help being stunned for a moment, evaluating this person who came from nowhere, suddenly appeared blocking them. Never heard that the school had such a character. Therefore, Su Kang and the several people following beside him also couldn't help being stunned for a moment, evaluating this person who came from nowhere, suddenly appeared blocking them. Never heard that the school had such a character. Therefore, Su Kang seemed reluctant to waste saliva on a stranger. His eyes passed over Ji Boten, looking at Jiang Sui, self-proclaimed polite smile. Sui, who is this? Gently, I blocked Su Kang's gaze, looking at my beauty deskmate. My eyes calmly met his smile. Ji Boten, Jiang's friend. Saying this, I hesitated a bit, as if thinking, and smiled brightly at Su Kang, her flower protector. As soon as the words ended, the space in front of the small store suddenly fell silent. Even the beauty Jiang being protected behind, hearing this, couldn't help but open her mouth in surprise. Even on the beautiful cold face, flashed a bit of blush that even she herself didn't notice. When everyone gradually came to their senses, the people following Su Kang first erupted into louder. Ha 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 ha, what is that? Flower protector. Brother, have you been reading too many novels? So middle school like, yet claiming to protect a flower. Are you qualified? On Su Kang's face also couldn't help revealing a mocking smile. Hey brother, wanting to protect a flower must have real ability. Moreover, you self-proclaim wanting to protect the flower, but have you asked the person concerned? After speaking, Su Kang's eyes again passed over Ji Bo, looking at Jiang Sui, continuing to maintain the gentleman's polite demeanor. A civilized, respectful smile. Sui, does this kid like you? Do you need me to help you chase him away? The tone gentle, extremely relaxed, at the same time, carrying a confidence as if having everything under control. However, unexpectedly in return was just a cold gaze, and before everyone's eyes, Jiang Sui from behind Ji Boten stepped forward one step, looking at her little deskmate with a radiant smile. He is indeed my flower protector. The atmosphere in front of the small store was silent as death. Su Kang's face showed more disbelief. Just this unremarkable kid. What does he rely on? At this moment, among those following Su Kang, someone looked at Ji Boten, seeming to suddenly remember something, face lighting up, loudly shouting, I know him. This guy is Ji Boten, the bottom student of class 10. Seems to also like the beauty of class 7, Lin Xinyu. Hearing this, many people around also remembered, there is indeed such a person, the flatterer of class 7 beauty Lin Xinyu, every day going to the store buying snacks for his goddess. Just an errand tool. Hearing his followers discussing bustlingly, Su Kang immediately understood, then his eyes looking at Ji Boten, again revealed contempt. So that's it, Ji Boten, right? Bottom-ranked academic performance. Also being a flatterer for another female student, with such virtue yet wanting to be a flower protector for Shui. Do you think you're qualified? As soon as these words ended, not only the people following Su Kang, but even the students standing watching around, all couldn't help nodding in agreement. On one side a student ranked at the bottom, being a flatterer for another female student, on the other side a famous figure in school, the academic, to be honest, who has the qualifications to be the flower protector for beauty Jiang. Too obvious. This time not waiting for me to speak, Jiang Sui stepped forward again, actively shielding Ji Boten behind, cold eyes meeting Su Kang's gaze. Qualified or not is for me to decide, not yet the turn for others to point fingers. Furthermore, after saying this, Jiang Sui paused, slightly tilting her head looking at Ji Boten. What's this about being a tool for another female student? Just a rumor. As for the bottom-ranked academic performance, remembering last night during self-study, the excellent performance of someone in the tests, and the perfectly accurate London accent, which shocked the class in English this morning, Jiang Sui again couldn't help smiling slightly. I think his talent is much stronger than you. Su Kang, spoiled since childhood, also being a famous figure in school, receiving countless adoration and admiration. Su Kang had never had a moment of being publicly looked down upon like this. Moreover, in a comparison, seemingly losing to an ordinary, unremarkable male student. Hearing the cold but calm and natural words of Jiang Sui, thinking of the rare smile that beauty Jiang only gave to one person, made Su Kang even more unable to suppress the burning jealousy. He tried to contain the anger in his heart, trying to appear calm, but his eyes looking at Ji Boten still couldn't hide the cold and gloomy expression. Is that so? Don't see it. Friend Ji Boten is really a hidden talented person. Then I'm curious to ask one question. What was your rank in the recent mock exam? The question just asked. The person following beside already eagerly answered. Brother Kang? I know. Last time I went to the teacher's office, accidentally saw the score list of class 10 out of 300 students in the liberal arts track. This guy only ranked 280th. completely at the bottom. Su Kang, hearing this, laughed, looking at Ji Boting, not hiding his mockery. With such performance, what confidence do you have to say you're not at the bottom? I with a completely calm face as if nothing happened. Last time I didn't do well in the exam. Doesn't mean I never will. Words like these falling into Su Kang's ears only felt like stubbornness. Immediately he laughed mockingly, looking down at Ji Boten from above. Fine. Then let's make a bet. Next week is the second mock exam. As long as you test into the top 10 of the grade, I'll acknowledge you have talent. I looked at him. Su Kang opened his mouth, patiently educating. Girls are to be pursued, not prizes to be passed around. You objectify women like this. Does your mother know? Jiang Sui, standing beside Ji Boten, couldn't help it. Almost laughed out loud. Su Kang, when reacting, was completely embarrassed and angry. The gentleman fact also not kept anymore. What's the point of talking more? Do you dare or not? If you test into the top 10, no need. Just rank above me. I'll give up pursuing Sui. But if you lose... After saying this, Su Kang paused, his eyes falling on Ji Boting, his voice suddenly revealing a scary tone. I want you to take off all your clothes. Go to the schoolyard, run naked for 3 rounds in front of everyone. The crowd of spectators around, hearing this, already showed excited expressions. Couldn't help starting to whisper and instigate. The people following Su Kang even more, looking at Ji Boting, starting to shout, Kid, do you dare or not? If you don't understand, then say it straight. Stay away from Beauty Jiang from now on. The rivalry and jealousy among high school students. Too childish. The soul of a mature man over 40 years old silently sighed in his heart. Then I nodded. Fine. Agreed. No other meaning. Mainly like watching someone run naked. Walking together on the way back to class, Jiang Sui, hands clasped behind her back, slightly leaning to look at Ji Boting. Master Flower Protector. What's that about? Voice still gentle, but couldn't hide the curiosity of Beauty Jiang. The truth, of course, couldn't be told to the beauty deskmate. I scratched my head, just vaguely answered a sentence, just said it randomly. I feel is not a good person. Jiang Sui nodded, gently making an O sound, seemingly accepting this answer, but in her heart the little person was already smiling like a flower. Oh yeah, little darling, such a tough mouth, clearly having a sense of crisis. Jealous, right? Still won't admit it. Boy's mouth.